discussion.
One
I'm very
concept
grateful.
we want to say, effective capital expenditure.
No.
What is effective capital expenditure, sir, and why do we...
I'm very grateful, sir, that members have chosen to
Get into the details of the budget. Sir, actually, this budget has come at a time of immense uncertainties, and the change in the global macroeconomic environment makes it challenging. So, if there are challenges which have actually made the budget preparation with a lot more uncertainties, I have to at least put in front of the August House that there are issues which are of global concern, which also have an impact on our own budget making. There is a continuation of global conflict in the Middle East. Russia-Ukraine war continues. Stagnation in global GDP and sticky inflation in the emerging markets are all vitiating the atmosphere in the entire developing economies. Actually, what is happening is where we have ideally a situation which should encourage free trade, we are seeing more restriction. Where we very strongly vouch for globalization, we see a lot more fragmentation. Where we need fiscal prudence, we are seeing rising debt. Where we are seeing market forces which should actually play to make sure economies are going to be absolutely free and fair in its practices, we are seeing many restrictive industrial policies. We are also seeing that where multilateral forums should be playing a greater role, we are seeing bilateral partnerships and regional forums coming into play. So the world scenario in the last 10 years has actually turned almost 180 degrees, and as a result of which the challenges for any country in making their budget is far more complicated now rather than ever before. Now, as far as the first advanced estimates from NSO have come in, India's economy is expected to grow by 6.4% in real terms and by 9.7% in nominal terms. So during the current financial year, this is the picture which we want to present before you. The inflation trends, particularly food inflation, appears to be moderating. Sir, the union budget for 25-26 has sought to address these immediate challenges facing the domestic economy in the global context. It also rolls out futuristic path for transforming India into Vikasit Bharat. So our main goals in this budget, our main goals in this budget are to accelerate our growth, secure inclusive development, invigorate private sector investments, and uplift household sentiments. So, with a focus on Garib, youth, Annadata, and Nari, the budget likes to reveal new schemes and reforms in the following broad sectors: promotion of agriculture, MSMEs, investments and exports as growth engines, and building rural prosperity and resilience. We also want to have employment-led development, spurring domestic consumption and boosting manufacturing in India, including export promotion. Continuing public capital expenditure, sir, and rekindling the animal spirits in the private sector to step up investments. And most importantly, investing in people, investing in economy, and investing for innovation. These are actually the union budget these are actually the points on which Union Budget is focusing, so that we balance the national development priorities with fiscal imperatives. So, some of the budgetary outlays I want to highlight here, sir, so that it covers most of the concerns expressed by many of the members. The budget, first thing before I even utter the outlays for each of the schemes, I want to highlight one concept, if you want to say, effective capital expenditure. What is effective capital expenditure, sir, and why do we need to? I'm sure very many members of Parliament will fully be aware of it, but for the records, I'd like to describe it for a minute. Effective capital expenditure includes core capital outlays and the grants in aid for creation of capital assets. Though the grants in aid for creation of capital assets, sir, is accounted in our budget, is accounted as revenue expenditure, they go for creating capital assets in the states. So we include them when we talk about effective capital expenditure. In the budget of this year, 25-26, the effective capital expenditure is projected at 15.48 lakh crores as against 13.18 lakh crores in the RE of 24-25. So the effective capital expenditure in BE 25-26, sir, is about 4.3% of our GDP. That is only 0.1% of GDP lower than the fiscal deficit of this year, which is 4.4. This year meaning 25-26, which is 4.4% of the GDP. So the effective capital expenditure is 4.3% of GDP. Fiscal deficit, 4.4% of GDP. What does it indicate? It indicates that government is using almost the entire borrowed resources for financing effective capital expenditure. So the borrowings are not going for revenue expenditure or committed expenditure or any of those kinds. It's going only for creating capital assets. So in effect, government intends to use about 99% of borrowed resources to finance effective capital expenditure in the upcoming 25-26 year. I'll explain it, Professor, please. I've just begun, right? The sectoral outlays in the year 25-26 include agriculture and allied activities, which get 1.71 lakh crores, rural development, which gets 2.67 lakh crores, urban development and transport, 6.45 lakh crores, health and education, 2.27 lakh crores, defense, which excludes defense pension, 4.92 lakh crores. So I just want to highlight the fact, sir, that money is not being denied to any of the capital expenditure accounts, because I heard occasionally this argument being put forward saying, has the paradigm shifted from capital expenditure because that gives a greater multiplier effect to giving people, the taxpayers, some money in their hands for boosting consumption? No, these data from the current budget, which is before us, shows that capital expenditure outlays have not come down at all. On the contrary, they've gone up. So in this, most importantly, across all schemes, I want to highlight how transfers to the states, that is for the year 25-26, will be 25.01 lakh crores. Transfers to the states across all schemes. And I just want to go back to listing out how much after COVID the capital expenditure is increasing. At the same time, including tax devolution, finance commission grants and funds for centrally sponsored schemes, 50-year interest-free that we give for the states, all put together, the transfer of resources to the states is growing by the year. 2020-21, sir, 13.44 lakh crores, which is an increase from the previous year, that is 2019-20, where it was 13.19 crores. 21-22, it rose to 13.40 lakh crores. It was 4,000 slightly less because of COVID-related issues, although we targeted a higher number. But in 22-23, it was 15.56 lakh crores, which is 2.16 lakh crores more than the previous years.